The Ready to Roar Keith Pearson Toyota pregame show, presented by Ashley Home Store. Live from London, here's First Coast News Sports Director Chris Porter.
And you're looking live inside of historic Wembley Stadium. The Jacksonville Jaguars home away from home. For the 7th consecutive year, the Jags are playing a team here in London. The Jaguars with a win today would not only get over one game over 500 in the win column, but one game over 500 here in London. They're taking on their AFC South rivals, the Houston Texans. They are looking for revenge. We're also live on the south side of Jacksonville, where a watch party is going down at Cole Haynes. All fans all joining us this morning for our watch party. They'll be eating good. Hopefully we'll hear a lot of Duval being chanted over on the south side of Jacksonville today. Meanwhile, let's get our pregame show rolling right now. Historic Wembley Stadium here in London, the Jaguars' official home away from home. The Big Cats squaring off this morning against AFC South rival Houston, and one of the team's biggest games on foreign soil in a long time. The Jags wanting to enter the bye week a game over 500, and with a victory over a team many believe the Big Cats should have beaten Week 2 in Houston. This morning, a look back at the last time these two divisional rivals met. Gardner Minshew mania has taken the NFL by storm. The rookie signal caller has solidified a position that the Jaguars have had questions at for years. But Nick Foles is scheduled to make his return soon. Our quarterback guru looks at both and decides who should be the starter. Plus, we've got a watch party going down on the south side of Jacksonville at Cole Haynes Irish Pub. We'll be checking in to get a pulse of how Big Cats fans are feeling ahead of this morning's game. You're watching Ready to Roar live from historic Wembley Stadium here in London. Hello, everybody. Chris Porter here live in historic Wembley Stadium, where today our Jacksonville Jaguars are taking on the Houston Texans. Local time here is just after 1 o'clock. So it's good afternoon here and good morning to you guys, because it's just after 8 in Jacksonville. Folks, this is a big game for the Jaguars as they are getting set to have a bye week next week. Not only is this a big divisional game, but it is an opportunity for the Jaguars to get one game over 500, and it would be huge. And today, over the next hour, we have got a whole lot of good stuff for you. We'll be matching up Foles against Gardner Minshew, breaking down other matchups in this game that you need to watch out for, and also we'll be taking a look back at some of the franchise's most memorable moments. But first, let's start with the Week 2 showdown when they first met back in Texas, to show you how the Jaguars came oh so close and a dramatic loss to the Texans Week 2. The first time the Jaguars and Texans met, it was Week 2 in Houston. The Jags were coming off an embarrassing loss to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, and points were hard to come by in the AFC South Division showdown. But one of the most memorable moments from that game came when Jalen Ramsey got into a confrontation with head coach Doug Marrone on the sideline.
You guys saw what happened. I mean, he felt that the ball was on the ground and wanted to throw the challenge flag, and we have a process of what we do with the challenge flag, and he was just upset about it. I mean, that's exactly what happened.
Fast forward to the fourth quarter, and the rookie Gardner Minshew put the Jaguars in position to win. With the Jags down 1, Doug Marrone decided to go for the 2-point conversion. And while some thought he should have kicked the extra point and tied the game up, most were even more upset at the play call. It did not work in the Jaguars' favor, and Marrone was left to explain after the game as the Jags lost to the Texans 13-12.
Decision that I made prior to us getting the last possession, immediately had the play in mind before the drive even started, so I was very, very comfortable with it. It just didn't work.
We felt really good about the call. Had the right look. Leonard was close out on the field. I thought he got it, but that's how it goes sometimes. I'd bet, 10 times out of 10 for him right there to get in there.
Now, as we know, the Jacksonville Jaguars are much improved than they were back during Week 2 of the regular season. Gardner Minshew has a few more games under his belt, and he's been playing spectacular. It seems he's named Rookie of the Week every single week. Now, let's take you to practice on Friday. The Jaguars got here Friday morning. Then they went out to their practice facility. The Jags telling me that they are laser focused for this game, and they are really loving playing here in the UK. UK, one thing for certain is that the Jaguars' running game is much improved by the AFC leading rusher Leonard Fournette. Fournette became the fastest Jags player, passing Fred Taylor to 3,000 yards from scrimmage in only 29 games. Gardner Minshew is also much improved, as I said. As for the Texans, they've got to fill a major void on defense. J.J. Watt out for the season with a pec injury, and their secondary is banged up. Bottom line, neither team will be making excuses, and they know they've got to find a win, but the Jags say they embrace playing here.
Yeah, it's crazy to see, how the impact you have just for playing a game. People hear about you from all over, across the freaking pond and all that. So that's awesome, man. So I'm excited, to be out here and meet everybody and, really just get to know the people out here.
I always enjoy coming here. I like it better when I'm coming here and I don't have to work. I can definitely drink more, but...
It is the question that Jaguar fans back home and here internationally want the answer to. Who will be the Big Cat starting quarterback come Week 11? As you know, Nick Foles, the guy they paid more than $88 million to come here via free agency, went down in the first game of the season, and Gardner Minshew has come in and partied and balled like a rock star. Doug Marrone has refused to answer the question, but at some point, he'll have to. Meanwhile, Mia O'Brien and our quarterback guru, Denny Thompson, talk about who should be the starter come Week 11.
He's different from this kid that we saw at Washington State. He's not a dink and dunk guy.
Gardner Minshew has shown me something about kind of his moxie.
But could we see a situation where Nick Foles get Nick Foles?
Forget Nick Foles for a second. I want to watch Gardner. Let's see Gardner.
Is Minshew escaping somehow the sack? Throws on the run wide open. Jacksonville, it's Chris Conley breaking free, and he is in for the touchdown.
Y'all gonna tell me Nick Foles can do that? I don't think Nick does this. I think this is a sack. This is the old school Mark Brunell, Jimmy Smith scramble drill, where Mark Brunell used to get out of the pocket, and Jimmy Smith knew. Like, when Mark Brunell gets out, I go deep. Most scrambling guys, they key in on one or two guys. They don't keep their eyes downfield. It's one read, it's two reads, I'm out of here, right? Gardner is like, I'm 1, 2, 3, let me scramble around a little bit. There's 4. Okay, I'm gonna go back to 1, and now he's open. That is super rare.
Minshew well protected, now the football comes loose. Who's got it?
Maybe Nick Foles just gets sacked here. You see the leverage of the Mike backer? See how his hips are turned? Right there? As a quarterback, you got to kind of see that, and you probably should have been able to get rid of this ball. He's 7 games in. For all the praise we give him, we are literally taking a play and finding fault in a play. Like with Blake and with everybody else, we were trying to take a play and find something good with it.
Jags win the game on Sunday. Are you playing Gardner Minshew against the Colts on November 17th?
I don't care what Gardner Minshew does. If the Jags win the game, I'm absolutely sticking with Gardner. The only scenario where I'm not sticking with Gardner Minshew is if he goes out there and he shows the fumble problems and he fumbles, once and we lose it in a crucial place, or they come back and he missed some reads that really would have won the football game for him. Then okay, I can understand the Foles. But if they win, there isn't a scenario that I can think of where Foles would be starting the next game.
And let's take a look at the Jaguars' remaining schedule. They've got a bye week next week, but they've got 2 big road games coming up at Indy, at Tennessee, both AFC South Divisional games. And they're finally back home, sweet home, December 1st, hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then the Los Angeles Chargers come to town before the Jags get back on the road to face the Oakland Raiders, the Atlanta Falcons. And then on December 29th, they've got their regular season finale at home against the Colts. The Jaguars and Texans this morning at 9:30 right here on ABC 25. A huge divisional game for both teams in a division that's still up for grabs. Our team analyst will join us to discuss the keys to victory. Plus, the Big Cats are celebrating 25 years in the River City. Throughout the show, we'll be taking you down memory lane. We're checking in at Colhane's Irish Pub to see if a big crowd is gathering for our watch party. You're watching Ready to Roar, live from historic Wembley Stadium here in London. And And you're looking live here at historic Wembley Stadium, where we are still a good little ways away from kickoff. But as you can see, the Jaguar fans are beginning to fill in the seats. Well, let me tell you, the folks here in the UK love their Jacksonville Jaguars. And one thing I learned for certain, that they are becoming more and more knowledgeable about this team. Talking to them at practice on Friday, they were really well versed on who are the ballers, who are not the ballers, and just where this team can go, and saying they're much improved than they were this time a year ago. Ready to roar, live from London. More after this timeout. Jacksonville met one of their own in the 2017 playoffs when the Buffalo Bills came to town, with the First Coast own Nathan Peterman trying to save the day for the Bills. It was Jalen Ramsey who spoiled the day, sealing the deal on the Jags' playoff victory.
Peterman from the gun. Here we go. Pass, tip, and intercepted by Ramsey to close it out.
After beating the Buffalo Bills at home, Blake Bortles and the feel-good story Jaguars of 2017 headed to the Steel City. Who knew that Blake Bortles could lead Jacksonville to victory in a shootout as the Big Cats outscored the Steelers 45-42 on one frigid January Sunday in Pittsburgh. Back here live at historic Wembley Stadium, where right now Calais Campbell and Josh Allen are on the big screen. Calais Campbell, as you know, has this show that he has where he brings guys in and he introduces them. And let me tell you something, Josh Allen, this kid is balling this year, as you know, and he's one of the big reasons why all of the experts and Jaguar fans are saying Saxonville is back. Saxonville doing what it does best, get pressure on that quarterback and force turnovers. Now we can pan down just a little bit. I want to show you that the crowd is beginning to file into the stadium. They are expecting more than 83,000 fans here today to root on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Across the pond we go now to our watch party. Yes, we've got a watch party going down on the south side of Jacksonville over at Cole Haynes Irish Pub. We are feeding the fans there, so if you want some good breakfast, you can go ahead and make your way over there. Hopefully, the folks over at Cole Haynes will have much to cheer about because, as you know, the Jacksonville Jaguars are trying to pick up yet another win and get a game over 500. Back here in London, where the weather is absolutely gorgeous today. Not too cold, you know, it can get a little frigid here, and it is dry for the most part. No sun. It peaked out a little earlier, but now it's gone. Now, the Jaguars, as I told you, they've got some tough decisions to make. At some point, they've got to decide on who's going to be their starting quarterback. Also, this defense continues to get better and better each and every week. Leonard Fournette is balling. Gardner Minshew is balling. And DJ Chark, he's emerged as well. To talk more about that and a whole lot more is the First Coast Sports analyst, Big Game James Coleman, Big Sofa, former Jaguar, Damon Jones in the house, and they're talking with Mia O'Brien. Mia?
Hey, thanks, Chris. The last time the Jags and the Texans met, Gardner Minshew was making his first career start. Now he's one of the most successful rookies in the class of 2019, has largely taken the nation by storm. So let's discuss the shoe and more with First Coast Sports analysts James Coleman and Damon Jones. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
Let's start with you, James. Nick Foles is eligible to come off the injured reserve Week 11 against the Colts. What does Minshew have to do today to prove that he is the guy moving forward?
Well, just win, baby. That's all you got to do. Win and also be able to control the offense. If you're controlling the offense, everything's going to take care of itself. And they'll be fools to actually try to take away that momentum. Nick Foles is obviously a really good quarterback, Super Bowl MVP, all the different things. But if you take away the momentum that Gardner Minshew has now, and let's say Nick Foles doesn't do very well, it's very difficult to bring it back and recreate that magic.
Nick Foles, of course, far from the only Jaguar who's been injured this season. Jags down 2 tight ends, namely James O'Shaughnessy was a real threat in the passing game up until his ACL tear. With those injuries, not to mention D.D. Westbrook and D.J. Hayden banged up, Damon, do any of these create a cause for concern?
Well, all of those injuries can create a concern. You want those guys, you want your number ones there healthy. Obviously, when you have to go get guys off the street, it's always a tough rode the whole. We saw that with our offensive line last year. So you want to make sure that the guy's healthy. That's why I think Doug, the way he handled the preseason and the way he did things, the way the guys played, he did that to keep those guys healthy. They've been fairly healthy. They've had some nicks and bruises here, but what team in the NFL isn't bruised up at the halfway point right now anyway?
Flipping over to the other side of the ball now, Saxonville got to Sam Darnold 8 times last week. James, is that sustainable, especially going up against the Texans?
It better be. That's kind of how they built their defense. The defense is built around the front seven. If that front seven is able to create pressure, cause havoc, really the 4D linemen, that helps your linebackers be able to play better, and it also cuts down on the time so that your secondary, which has been playing better with Ronnie Harrison doing very well, and Trey Herndon performing very well in the absence of Jalen Ramsey.
I think you look at that defensive line and the way they've played the last 2 weeks. You look at them getting after Sam Darnold. They obviously have to rush Deshaun Watson a different way. They have to rush him and keep him contained because his legs can hurt you down the field. What you have to do is rush with 4 or 5 guys. Hopefully that secondary makes plays. And when you do blitz them, you blitz them fast and make them throw the quick routes.
Really the X factor, believe it or not, me saying this, will be can Taven Bryan continue to play well. Taven actually didn't play bad against the Texans before, and in the last few games, Taven has done really, really good. If they're able to push the pocket and get the edge, then you're going to actually see Saxonville possibly be able to get that 6 to 10 sack game.
It's the Jags, it's the Texans, it's live from London town. Let's send it on back to Chris Porter out across the pond.
Thank you, man. We want to update you on the inactives for the Jaguars that we just received not that long ago. Inactive, D.D. Westbrook, running back, Tyler Irvin, cornerback, D.J. Hayden, linebacker, Leon Jacobs, linebacker, Quincy Williams, offensive lineman, Brandon Thomas, and defensive tackle, Dontavius Russell will all be missing in action today against the Houston Texans. Now, as I told you, they've been partying like rock stars here in the UK as their Jaguars are getting set to take on the Houston Texans today. But we're not the only ones partying. They're partying back home in Duval. So let's send you across the pond to the south side of Jacksonville, where Jocelyn Howard is standing by. We're having a watch party. Hello, Jocelyn.
Hello, good morning. We sure are. First off, we have Mary Jane Culhane here. She's one of the owners of the pub here, and I understand the first 150 people get...
Yes, they get their free... We're calling it a patty sash since we're an Irish pub, but it's the Minshew Mania lookalike. Woo! Come get it.
I'm going to keep mine on for this
All right.
Tell us about some of the food we got here. It looks amazing. First shot we had some biscuits and chicken biscuits with gravy on the top. Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Already gone.
We got some new stuff out here this time. So tell me what we got right here.
We'll start with our briskets and grits. This is smoked and it's really popular with the locals. And then we have our Irish skillet, which is Irish rashers and sausages and fresh vegetables. And then for the kids, we're really kid-friendly here. We have our beautiful pancakes and a side of fruit. And that comes with a drink for $6.95. And then we have our buffalo wings. You can get them any style. You can do whiskey glaze, buffalo. Right now, they're just a dry rub. So we have them all day.
Menu here.
Yeah, so today, we get my little petty stash off. So today's a limited menu. You can come on in from now until 2 o'clock and get all of our brunch specials and drink specials as well.
Awesome. Now, I loved what we were talking about earlier, you being from Ireland. You know, why is this so exciting to you? Why did you guys want to do this morning?
Well, being from Ireland, we're just across the pond from London, so we understand the culture, and we're just super proud and excited to have you guys here and show Jacksonville that this is a true Irish pub and we know how to party.
Absolutely, and we have some giveaways as well. So people who haven't came out yet, what can they expect if they want to come
Okay,
by?
when you walk in the door, you're going to get a complimentary patty sash. And then you get, we have a ton of more girls walking around with some t-shirts, swag, and little flasks. And then Culhane's are giving away gift cards and swag for the best Minshew lookalike.
Awesome, great. Thank you guys very much. Pass it back to you guys. I'm Jocelyn Howard, First Coast News, over at the Culhane.
Historic Wembley Stadium here in London is the Jaguars' home away from sweet home. But what advantages, if any, are there for the Jags playing the game here in the UK? We'll examine, and later. The Big Cats' 2019 season through the first 8 games has had its fair share of drama. A look at the most dramatic moments in As the Jaguars Turn. You're watching Ready to Roar, live from historic Wembley Stadium here in London.
Fun and see who looks good. You
They call it the International Series. The Jaguars always come here to the UK to play their games, and today it is AFC South rival, the Houston Texans. Folks, without question, this is the biggest matchup that they played on foreign soil. The Jaguars with a win go a game over 500, and check out the sideline. A lot of the folks that you're seeing there, nope, those are not reporters, but those are fans. They call it the fan experience. They get an opportunity before kickoff to get up close and personal with the Texans and the Jaguars. So up close and personal that we had to go up high so that they could have the spot on the field. More of Ready to Roar live here on ABC 25 after this timeout. Before Blake Bortles and Calais Campbell were able to head to the Steel City and knock off the Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoffs back in 2018, it was David Garrard and the Jaguars offense that stole the show, and a win in the Steel City back in 2008. As they knocked off the Steelers 31-28 in the wild card round of the playoffs. And you are looking live at the time before the game between our Jacksonville Jaguars and Houston Texans. Kickoff right here on ABC 25. Oh, folks, we're getting closer and closer. A little bit more than an hour, according to that clock, away from the team kicking off. And let's take you to the south side of Jacksonville. Well, this morning we have a watch party over at Cole Haynes Irish Pub. They've got good eats over there. And if you happen to be in the area, run on over right quick, get you some good food, and watch the game with us today, because I promise you, before it's all said and done, we'll hear a little Duval. Back here live in the UK now. And you know, back home or here in the United Kingdom, they have some nice monuments. One like Big Ben. Back home, we have monuments like Calais Campbell, Yannick Ngakoue, even Ben Murphy. Yes, my friend, he's a monument as well. And he's taking a look at London's and the Jaguars' monuments a little closer. He'll explain.
London is what we thought it was, and we let it off the hook. Or we didn't bring an umbrella, but we figured this would be a good time to showcase the city since they love Jacksonville and the Jags so much. Let's put the two together. Much like the Jags quarterback history, the London Bridge has had a long and some would say troubled history. And in 1968, they redid the bridge for just over $2 million, just like the Jags did this past year for $88 million with Nick Foles. But maybe it's a bridge to the future. And like the new London Bridge, Gardner Minshew has led the way for the Jags with 13 touchdowns and just 2 interceptions. Nothing like a good landline here in London at a telephone booth. Old reliable like Josh Lambo. He's never missed a field goal at TIA Bank. London's a home game, right? Ah, yes, modern transportation. In London, the double-decker bus, oh so famous. 2 levels of greatness. Where can we find that 2 levels of greatness? How about Josh Allen, Yannick Ngakoue on the defensive line, combined for 11 sacks on the season? And if there's one thing we know to be reliable, it's a clock. On the hour, every hour. It always talks to us. It's all reliable. Big Ben. Big Calais Campbell, the Jacksonville Jaguars staple on the defense, is the glue that holds everything together. The eyes of London. The London Eye. Maybe a little off in the distance, a little away from the action. It's always watching. Just like, Tom Coughlin. It's the home away from home. It is Jacksonville East. It's Jacksonville across the pond. It's London, England. Ben Murphy, First Coast Sports.
Miles Jack getting into a fight with Chiefs wide receiver DeMarcus Robinson week 2, or Jalen Ramsey's demand to be traded after a meeting with the Jaguars top brass that left Ramsey feeling disrespected. The Big Cats have had quite a deal of drama this season, and we're talking about it all in As the Jaguars Turn. You're watching Ready to Roar from historic Wembley Stadium in London, right here on ABC 25. And you're looking live at Jaguars second-year wide receiver DJ Chark. Maybe he's talking about having a big game this week. As you know, Chark, he's balling, folks. He's come a long way since his rookie season. One of Gardner Minshew's main targets. And hopefully, he'll do his thing today. More Ready to Roar live here on ABC 25 after this time. 22 years young with a promising NFL career ahead of him when this happened.
There was a rollover. Yeah, rolled over. He lost his arm. He's conscious, but he lost his arm.
Former Trinity Christian star Kendrick Norton and his girlfriend involved in a serious accident that ended his NFL career.
Drifting like in and out of consciousness a little bit, so it was just crazy, you know, just being, you know, that close to death.
I'm Chris Porter here in Miami. How Kendrick Norton turned his pain into purpose. Monday night at 11, only on First Coast News.
The Ready to Roar Keith Pearson Toyota pregame show, presented by Ashley Home Store. Live from London, here's First Coast News Sports Director Chris Porter.
And you are looking live here at historic Wembley Stadium. Jaguar fans making their way to their seats. Jaguar fans here in London, they are hoping to root this team on to a victory and get them one game over 500. They want to root them on to a victory of their AFC South Division rival, the Houston Texans. Now, on the south side of Jacksonville, we've got a watch party going down. We've got good eats going down over there, and it's all for absolutely free. So listen, if you're in town and you want to watch the game, come do it with us. Some of your favorite personalities here on First Coast News, they will be there. It's all at Cole Haynes Irish Pub in Tinseltown on the south side of Jacksonville. Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Porter here in London. We thank you so much for being with us this morning. I don't know about you, but I'm excited about today's game. The Jaguars, as you know, in position to pick up a big win before the bye week. However, I hate to break the news to you. This team has endured a whole lot of drama through the first 8 games of the season. So here are our Jaguars, or should I better say, as the Jaguars turn. Week 1, the Jaguars versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Jags fans did not have to wait long to experience the first dramatic moment of the 2019 season. Nick Foles making his much-anticipated debut. Foles throws a beautiful touchdown pass to DJ Chark, but on the play, Foles was injured. Foles had to leave the game with a broken collarbone. The Jags placed Foles on IR. Foles out for at least 8 to 10 weeks, but week 11, he'll be eligible to return. The same game, opposite side of the ball. Jaguars linebacker Miles Jack ejected from the game for his role in a fight that broke out midway through the second quarter. The altercation took place after Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes was sandwiched between 3 Jaguars defenders on a sack by Yannick Ngakoue at the Jaguars' 13-yard line. Mahomes appeared to roll on his ankle on the play, limping off the field to receive medical attention. Jack and Chiefs wide receiver DeMarcus Robinson appeared to get into it before Jack threw a punch, drawing the flag and the ejection. Jack had to be physically restrained by his teammates and then escorted off the field into the tunnel after he was kicked out of the game. The incident left Jack telling Jags fans and his teammates, "I'm sorry." Then there's the Jalen Ramsey saga. Week 2, Jalen Ramsey gets into a heated confrontation with head coach Doug Marrone. We later learned Ramsey was upset about Marrone not challenging a pass catch. Ramsey believed DeAndre Hopkins did not make the catch, but it was only the beginning of the drama. Ramsey would later meet with a few of the Jaguars' top brass, a meeting that did not include Doug Marrone. After the meeting, Ramsey called his agent saying he no longer wanted to play for the Jaguars, demanding a trade. Ramsey later saying he was disrespected during that meeting. Ramsey would play the next week against the division rivals, the Tennessee Titans, but would not wear a Jaguars game jersey again. After a bout with the flu and that so-called back injury, not even a meeting with Jaguars owner Shad Khan could change Ramsey's mind. The Jaguars then traded Ramsey to the Los Angeles Rams for 2 first-round picks and a 4th-round pick. So as you know, the Jaguars are playing here at historic Wembley Stadium for the 7th consecutive year. They're 3-3 here, but the question is it truly a home field advantage? For that answer, we go to my colleague, Mia O'Brien.
Fair London town. As a former resident of Notting Hill Gate myself, it is my duty to remind you that the London you're thinking of, with Big Ben, Westminster Abbey, the London Eye, is actually Kensington. The City of London is technically the historic financial district, home to the Stock Exchange and the Bank of England. So, as the Jags get set to make their 7th trip to the UK, let's make London proud by crunching some numbers of our own and seeing how much of a home field advantage NFL teams have had across the pond. The NFL has been playing the London game since 2007. With Carolina and Houston making their first trips this season, 31 of the league's 32 teams have now played in the UK. Sorry, Green Bay. During that time, first-time visitors have gone 13-15. The Bengals and Redskins tied in their London debut, but we won't go there. The last 5 opponents the Jaguars have faced in London were all first-timers. The Big Cats went 3-2 in those games, including winning 3 of the last 4. Now, does that mean returning teams have an advantage? Well, in total, returnees have only gone 13-10 over the years. Jacksonville has been the home team in all 6 of its trips to London. Does that give them an advantage? Well, maybe developing a fan base across the pond helps, but statistically speaking, the home team only 15-12 all time in the UK. So, as you can see, these are all pretty narrow margins. So maybe it's as simple as this. The flights, the time change, doesn't matter. The best team is going to win wherever they line up. After all, over the last 2 years, all 8 teams that won in London went on to make the postseason. Sitting at 4-4, maybe this Sunday is more than just a fork in the road for the Jaguars. It very well could define their season. Mia O'Brien, First Coast Sports.
Thank you, Mia. And no Jaguars player was under more pressure at the start of this season than Leonard Fournette. As you know, he had a disastrous 2018 season. By the end of it, we all learned the Jaguars took away his more than $7 million of guaranteed money. And if he's going to get it back, he's going to have to prove it on the field. The good news is he's doing well. I caught up with another Jaguar great running back, Maurice Jones-Drew, to talk about Fournette, where this team possibly can go, and the future.
The offseason, I think, was the most important. You know, being able to, look at yourself and say, like, this is where I need to improve on. That's self-scouting. That's one of the toughest things to do. We did that. I used to do that every year. I used to have our video guy, Perk, send me every play that I was in, and I would watch it throughout the season and figure out where I can do better, where I can learn, what I need to work on in the offseason. And so for Leonard to kind of do that, see himself, say, this is where I need to improve on, then go and train in Wyoming, which we all know, that's God's country, because only God wants to live there, right? Because I know for sure I can't be in the cold like that. But, that dedication to his offseason and to his body and to his performance, you're seeing that now starting to pay dividends. The offensive line's blocking better, starting to create some holes. He's breaking off big runs. I know he's doing some things that no Jaguars running back's ever done, which has been huge. So it's all predicated off of what he did this offseason. So he took obviously the message they sent to him, and he's been able to do that, and it's important that he continues to do that from here on out.
And I guess when you have a good running game, it can do nothing but help the rookie quarterback.
It helped any quarterback. Look at Tom Brady right now. He's struggling because they can't really run the ball consistently. And so, a running game and being able to keep that defense off balance by running the ball and breaking off big runs, and then being able to use the play-action pass, your quick game, some intermediate routes mixed in there. It just puts a defense where you're attacking them horizontally in the play-action pass down the field, down the field, but then horizontally in your quick game, making them run sideline to sideline. You just start to stretch the defense out, and it creates more lanes. So the Jags are doing a phenomenal job of utilizing all their weapons.
Divisional game. We got the bye week coming up. You've been in this position so many times. What would a win do for this team?
The AFC South is one of the toughest divisions next to the NFC West, I think. And with all the teams being above 500, you need to try to find a way to get there, right? And so for me, anytime you can beat the Houston Texans, who have a really good team, you knock them down, you make them have to battle with the Colts and the Titans and other teams, and now every game for them becomes more important. It helps you out a ton. So it's always good to try to get a victory going into that bye week so that you can, be well rested. As you know, I don't know if people told you, like when you lose, everything's not the best, right? But when you win, you just feel a little bit better and a little bit more excited. So winning always helps a ton. I think coming off a big win against a really good Houston Texans team would definitely help.
And how far do you think this team can go?
You can literally slide into the playoffs and be a wild card team and make a run. And so I think right now for the Jags, this is about stacking wins and getting better each week and just keep improving and improving and improving. Then once you get into December, understanding that you may make a run in December that gets you hot like you did in 2017, and then all of a sudden you're the hottest team going into the playoffs and no one wants to play you.
Kickoff for the Jaguars and Texans game right here on ABC 25 is drawing near, and fans not only here in the UK but back home in the River City are fired up about the AFC South Divisional Showdown. We've got a watch party going down on the south side of Jacksonville, and we're taking you there live. You're watching Ready to Roar live from historic Wembley Stadium right here on ABC 25.
And
And there's the man that has taken the NFL by storm, Gardner Minshew. Boy, are we expecting another big game from him today as the Jaguars are getting set to take on their AFC South rival, Houston. Yeah, the Houston Texans right here on ABC 25. More of Ready to Roar live from historic Wembley Stadium after this timeout. The year was 1997. The Jaguars were huge underdogs against one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history in a divisional playoff game in the Mile High City. John Elway was not the man to watch that day. It was Mark Brunell. Brunell threw for 245 yards and 2 touchdowns, leading the Jaguars over the Broncos on a very frigid day in Denver. And back here live at historic Wembley Stadium, where folks, we're getting closer and closer to kickoff. Jaguars and Texans right here on ABC 25. The man wearing number 18 is former Georgia Bulldog Chris Conley. The Jaguars hoping for big things from him on the field today. And let me remind you guys, the Dogs got it done yesterday against the Florida Gators back home at TIAA Bank Field. And if you can, Nick Marone, a lot more of the players, they're coming out of the tunnel now as the Jags, well, they got a big game. And listen to the crowd. You don't think the folks here in the UK don't like their Jacksonville Jaguars? Better yet, love them? You better think again. Meanwhile, let's go across the pond to a watch party on the south side of Jacksonville where Jocelyn Howard is standing by. Jocelyn?
Yes, it's 8 o'clock and we are pretty much at capacity, but we've got more room, so come on in.
Great. Now tell me what we have here. We have some giveaways.
So we have promised to give away for the best Minshew mustache, and right now we have a Steins Cohans mug with a $25 gift card and a bumper sticker and a t-shirt, which you can get on the way out.
Very good. Now I believe we have a winner.
Woo!
Let's go find
him. So our beautiful Minshew winner is Patrick.
All right,
Patrick. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, we will be live here, post-game, pre-game here, and stay tuned here on JMJ. I'm Jocelyn Howard, First Coast News on your side.
Jaguar fans here in the United Kingdom got a chance to watch the team practice ahead of today's game Friday at Alliance Stadium. What they're saying about today's game and who they believe should be the team starter Week 11 against the Colts. You're watching Ready to Roar live from historic Wembley Stadium right here on ABC 25. The electricity is picking up here at historic Wembley Stadium as we get closer and closer to game time, and as the Jaguars have more players run out on the field. The Jaguars in a prime time position to not only pick up a win here today against the Houston Texans, but go a game over 500. And Gardner Minshew, the quarterback, is the guy that they'll be looking to lead the charge today. More of Ready to Roar live here from London on ABC 25 after this timeout. You never know when the talent is going to hit you in the face. Jimmy Smith's mom would send Tom Coughlin and the team a binder of her son's accomplishments and press clippings. One thing led to another, and the Jags found the best receiver in their franchise's history, thanks to Jimmy Smith's mom. Back here live at historic Wembley Stadium where the Jacksonville Jaguars are getting set to take on the Houston Texans right here on ABC 25. And you're looking live at the man they call the mayor of Saxonville, Calais Campbell. Boy, has he been one of the greatest pickups, free agent pickups the Jags have had in a long, long time. And hopefully he and that Jaguar defensive line can give Deshaun Watson some problems today.
Hello, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the show so far. We've enjoyed bringing it to you. You do know, again, the game is set to kick off at 9:30 right here on ABC 25. And I just want to remind you of something. The fans here in the UK, they love their Jacksonville Jaguars. Take a look as many of them are beginning to file into the stadium here. More than 83,000 fans are expected to watch our Jacksonville Jaguars today. And when we came year 1 versus year 7, these fans here in London, they are well versed in NFL football now, especially, as they would say, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I tried the accent there. Meanwhile, all of them at practice on Friday was talking about who the Jaguars should select as their starter at quarterback come Week 11. Should it be Nick Foles or should it be Gardner Minshew? Take a listen.
He's a breath of fresh air for the sport. So especially after the Colin Kaepernick episodes and all that, I think the NFL needed a character just to bring life back into the game.
Garner's played lights out. He's done so well. But, Foles has the experience. He's been there, done it. He hasn't really had a chance. He only had 10 throws in that first game. One of them was a beautiful touchdown. If he can do more of that, I want to see it.
We are now a little more than 30 minutes away from the Jaguars and Texans squaring off right here on ABC 25. We'll tell you how the First Coast sports team is planning to cover the game next. You're watching Ready to Roar live from historic Wembley Stadium right here on ABC 25.
Jaguars and Texans, oh my goodness, we're almost ready for kickoff here on ABC 25. As you can see, the players are getting loose. They are fired up. We got it on Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette, the leading rusher in the AFC. Yes, we're expecting big things from him and the Jaguars offense. More of Ready to Roar on ABC 25 after this timeout. And you're looking live at our watch party over at Cole Haynes Irish Pub on the south side of Jacksonville. Folks, come on, join us. They're going to have a good time there. They're already having a good time. Who doesn't like any free and watching football? The game that will start here at 9:30 on ABC 25. Back here live at historic Wembley Stadium, where the energy inside of this stadium is picking up as we get closer and closer to game time. Our Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Houston Texans. And we're going to take one last look at the field before we say goodbye. The Jags, they're loose. They're hopping around. As I told you in practice this week, they told me that they are laser focused and they are ready for this game. Meanwhile, on the right side of the field, the Texans, they're not doing much. I mean, they're working out a little bit, but we haven't seen them dancing and bopping around as much as we've seen our Jaguars. This is a huge game, folks. I don't have to tell you. With a win, the Jags can go one game over 500 and go into the bye week with a little momentum, something that we can all use. Please don't forget to join us immediately following the game right here on ABC 25 for our post-game show. It will be an hour long. Our analysts will be here. Ben will be here. Mia will be here. I will be here. It will be a whole lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching us. Texans and Jaguars, 9:30 on ABC 25. I'll see you immediately after the game.